What's up, everybody? I'm JGSF 1987. I'm a writer and blogger. To see my latest post, go to my blog at jgsf1987.com. And also, to help support this channel, you can go to my Patreon link, which is patreon.com/jgsf1987. Okay, so I'm going to make this actually kind of brief. Number one, I think the first place to start is, if you live in the San Francisco Bay Area, do yourself this massive favor. Just don't go outside. There's a couple of wildfires that are, burning, especially up in and around a wine country. The problem is there's a very smoky haze and a lot of smog right now. Up in the air around the Bay Area, basically, so it's not exactly a healthy breathing environment. So take this into account. Unless you really have to, don't go outdoors. If I find out anything, I don't know, maybe post about it either on Twitter or Facebook or on my Google Plus page. Okay, that's number one. Number two, this whole thing with the national hymn and such, and people, and all kinds of athletes kneeling before it. Look, I don't know what planet the president, the vice president, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, the majority leader in the Senate, or for that matter, the President pro temp, are thinking, but it's called freedom of expression. They're not doing anything violent. Now, granted, Trump did make some threatening tweets to the NFL's leadership and such, and so right now the NFL leadership is cracking down on it. Well, again, that's their right. For right now. Doesn't mean I agree with it, but it is what it is. But basically, the NFL should not be bullied into doing that. And actually, for that matter, the league should be backing the players up, as well as the team owners. I mean, Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, look at what he did. He basically joined the entire team down at the field line, kneeling down along with them with locked arms. That says a lot. Look, I get it that a lot of people find it really, 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 really offensive or outrageous, and I empathize with them. But what I will also say is that but if they're going to be using it as an excuse to basically get people to shut up about all the racial inequalities here, and that basically that is the way things always should be, no, I'm not going to keep my mouth closed over that. If your whole point is basically to say shut up because white supremacy is the law of the land, no. But that's the tack that the president and much of the rank and file, actually, for the Republican Party in Congress. I don't know so much about the leadership, but I do know that a lot of the rank and file really want to go back to the days of Jim Crow, more or less. But luckily, so far, that hasn't happened yet. But now they'll try again and again and again and again and again, but they're not going to be successful. They're not going to succeed in the end. They just won't. Look, there's a couple things that are working against them. First of all, they don't have a filibuster-proof majority in the Senate. So they can't do anything about it that way. They can't also go about it via budget reconciliation because the deadline for that had already passed. So, and because they don't have the numbers necessary to overcome a filibuster, I'm pretty confident that that's not going to be signed into law. It's just it won't. Now, that doesn't mean that there's other, parts of the Republicans' presidential platform that they'll try to enact. First of all, to take on the tax code now that they basically passed that deadline where they could more or less do it without engaging in so many filibusters, it's passed. First of all, the Republicans are really badly divided within, just like the Democrats are. So basically, within the political establishment in and of itself, right now it's at war with itself. Yeah. So a lot of what you're seeing, more or less, is the sudden realization by many in the political class that, especially within the donors and those in public office and such, one of the things they're beginning to understand actually is that they're quickly losing their credibility. And that's why you're going to see because of all this infighting, that's partly what's dragging everything out. Now, it's very widely known that Republicans, they don't govern, or they're too incompetent to govern. The problem with the Democrats is that they have all the ideas, but they never ever go about either one defending them or two talking about the positives of it. That, or they just run away from their own record because they have all the ideas, but they don't have any backbone in terms of trying to enact it about half the time. So there's one thing that's going on. Another thing that's going on as well, especially within the Democratic ranks, is that the party itself is really divided between the base and the donors. And so all the elected Democrats, they don't want to piss off their donors. But the problem is they're also ignoring the voices of those who are basically really hurting, not being exceedingly responsive to them. So there's that. So anyway, if you want to watch, I would say just keep your eyes open when it comes to dealing with Trump and such, and also dealing with the corruption that is apparently still ongoing in Washington. So I'll go out here. I'm JGSF 1987, and I am out of here. And one more thing before I go is, if you've watched this, thanks for doing so. Go ahead and subscribe if you're interested in more, and be sure to check out my Patreon page. Anyway, so I'll kill it here. I'm JGSF 1987, and I am out of here.